When it comes to choosing what colors to put on my model, I usually rely on the described color of the object and grab my paint colors accordingly. Now this is not always the best approach. Whether it's black paint for a black dog, green for a bush, or blue for water, these objects usually contain many other hues present in the shadows and highlights. Even when viewing a red car, we see that it's not one simple shade of red. And the same goes for white. Today we're going to explore painting a white shirt on a 32mm miniature without using any white paint. Welcome to Trehane Miniatures. White might possibly be the most common color painted on a miniature, where we overlook the importance of incorporating interesting colors and hues that will add credibility to the white garment. There are many common approaches that I've used to paint white cloth on a miniature. I've painted the model matte white and then applied a wash to achieve the desired shadows. Some people like to layer up to white using a typical grayscale. I've tried mixing darker colors into matte white, such as Payne's Gray, and apply the paint in progressively lighter layers, working my way up to pure matte white highlights. This method works pretty well, but can still look a little too stark and somewhat chalky in the end. Using hues other than pure white will add the illusion of depth and texture to the miniature, as well as creating a sense of believability. For today's video, I'm taking a cue from the character art for Leon from the Cthulhu Death May Die board game to paint a white shirt with some dingy shadow colors. If painting a more pristine white, I prefer to use the same series of blue-gray colors that I use when highlighting black. These are Iron Wolf, Wolf Gray, and Glacier Blue. Of course, the amount of area covered by the light blue-gray hues will be much greater for the white garments than when highlighting black. Regardless of how dingy or pristine that I want the white to look, I recognize that the perfect white does not exist. There will be subtle variations in the white fabric based on light and shadow. The perfect example of how light and shadow affects our perception of light can be seen in this classic optical illusion. Box A is the exact same color as Box B, yet only one of the two boxes appears to be white. I can't quite wrap my brain around this one. It's only when we connect the two boxes with the same shade of gray that we see their true colors show through. Since I'm going for a gloomy atmosphere with drab shadows on today's miniature, I apply a base layer of chocolate brown over the black primer. I prefer to begin with a black primer like this because it gives me the most control over how light interacts with the model. The darkest possible shadow color is already in place, and I can continue to paint in lighter colored layers until the highlights are as bright as I want them. For continuity, this chocolate brown paint will be the deepest shadow color for all other parts of the miniature as well. To keep the drab nature of this paint job going, I'm going to add some necrotic flesh to the chocolate brown to create a secondary shadow color. This is one of only 3 color layers that we're going to place over the chocolate brown to achieve our white look. Having these darker layers present will create depth and nuance to an otherwise boring white shirt. This is going to be the most visible shadow color when we're all done here. It will be particularly noticeable in the area below the chest, just above the belly. The visible chocolate brown shadows are reserved mostly for the part of the shirt around the back and the downward facing area around the left side of the leg. Even though not much of the chocolate brown will be purely visible when we're all done, it's still an important layer as it aids us in layering up with the lighter colors over the initial black primer. For the next layer, I use pure necrotic flesh. This is actually going to be the mid-tone color for our white shirt. We'll get away with this because the surrounding clothing items are going to be darker than this undershirt, making the undershirt look lighter in color. This works in much the same way as the optical illusion in the checkerboard. Items don't need to be painted completely white in order to appear white. Just like how this white towel looks more gray against a white background, but looks much whiter against a black background. Or maybe not. I do have every layer of paint that I put on the model thinned a bit with water so that I don't leave any noticeable brush strokes. And even though I apply the paint in thin layers, I'm not necessarily going for smooth transitions here. Cloth is textured, so that will be represented in the way that we apply the paint, often using short strokes and a little stippling. And this brings us to our final layer. I'm using Mummy Robe for the brightest highlights. This is an off-white color that has a bit of a peach hue to it. At least that's what my old eyes see. There are almost no full brush strokes with this layer. Lots of little short strokes, dots, and stipples. I highlight the upper portion of the shirt the most to draw attention toward the character's face. I edge highlight the ribbed collar of the shirt and pay particular attention to highlighting the upper pecs. I think that this is the perfect white recipe for Cthulhu Death May Die characters because of how grimy and desaturated the art looks. Like I mentioned earlier, for a more pristine white, I would choose a different color combination to create the white look. And there we go, a fully painted model of our local UPS delivery guy rushing out the back door of my folks' house when he hears my dad pull into the driveway. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel to join our growing community of painters.